Hey guys, just welcome back to Blades. No. Hold on. Okay guys, welcome back to Seven Lux's channel. This time we're gonna be doing Blade and Sorcery tier listing. I know it's garbage and stupid, but like Ethan, why are you doing a Blade and Sorcery video if you don't do Blade and Sorcery videos? Listen. I do Blade and Sorcery videos. I just can't upload it for some reason because I have a headset that used to be someone else's headset. I bought it. My grandfather bought it for me, but the bad thing is I'm in a bad mood right now because I was recording, and I didn't realize, and I was tier listing all of them already. But the bad thing is, I did not know I was not recording. So, I had to, rearrange all the weapons back. So, this is just bad, but it's fine. Just to let you guys know, the making of this video was a nightmare. Alright. We're gonna go first with the daggers. Copy. So the dagger, it's a nice weapon. It's okay. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad, or I think it's good. You could kill an enemy with it just fine. But next up, skinning knife. Alright, hear me out. This weapon, to some people it might be actually really good, but hear me out. It's just bad. You can't even, aside from the common dagger, you have to stab an enemy 3 times in order to kill them. So it's bad. Next up, what the frick? Next up, the antique greatsword. Overall, it's a good weapon. Actually, really good weapon. It's perfect. I'm gonna put it in the perfect category, but not the GOAT. Nah, let's just put it in nice, cause it's both bad and good, but more of the good is more than the bad. I mean, it has a pommel that you could kill someone with, but okay, it's still good though. Next up, the claymore. Disclaimer, I'm only doing the previous weapons because in the 1.0 update they added a lot of weapons and I don't want to tier list all of them. So, I'm just going to do the old ones. The claymore, it's my favorite weapon. Basically, the cross guard. The cross guard is basically a mace, if you really think about it. You can actually, end someone's head with this. You can, whatever. But, next up, the greatsword. I'm trying to get this over with, because today it's Thanksgiving. And we're going to do a VR video. And it's basically just, I don't know, just enjoy the video. But next up, the greatsword. It's actually really good if you really think about it. It's perfect. But it has some reach. It's about as big as the boar spear, but still, it's really good. If you want to cut some enemies' heads off with it, it's good. Next up, the longsword. The longsword, hear me out. Some of y'all might get mad at me for this, but I don't know how to explain it. I just don't like it. I know some of you might get mad at me for it, but I just don't like it for some reason. I don't know how to explain it, but next up, what is this? The war sword. Don't mind me. You can king an enemy with it. It's good. I've never used it much, but it's actually really good. It's good to use though. Don't mind about the background. Next up, the Reverend Sword. Also, some people might refer it to a burial sword in the 1.0 update, but still, I like to call it the Reverend Sword because that's how it's supposed to be. It's overall, it's a nice weapon. It's nice, but I don't really like to use it much. So I'm gonna put it in the, I don't know how to call it, category. So I just put that there. Next up, the antique sword. I mean, it obviously is antique, because in game the sword looks older than me. And it's actually really good nice to use. It's basically the basic weapon of the game. It has no downsides, or it's just well-rounded. It has no specific downsides. Next up, the short sword. It's exactly like the antique sword, but you can imbue it better. But the bad thing is it doesn't really have a tip. So I'm just gonna put it in the nice category. Next up is the riding sword. It's a nice weapon. It's actually a kind of good weapon. It's exactly like the short sword, but you can imbue it better. And it's basically the war sword, but shorter. Like, it's good, I guess. Next up is the Bardiche. Or Bardich, I mean. The Bardich. It's a actually good weapon if you really think about it. There's like a hole right there that you could grab it by, and you could like punch enemies in the neck and it like decapitate them. So it's actually I'm gonna put it in the perfect category. Next up, the Northern Axe, or the Brigand Axe. It has no downsides, but I really like to use it. It actually, some people might not think of it, but it's basically the Bardich, but you can kill an enemy harder with it. So I'm gonna try putting it in the this category. Where was I? Okay, the old lumber axe. Some people are gonna hate me for this, but it's a good weapon. It's not bad or anything. It's actually all the way bad. You can't imbue it or anything, but you can still kill an enemy in the head with it. So I'm gonna put it right here. Next up is the bearded axe, or just the axe. What the heck? So it's the bearded axe. And it's like the short sword. It's really good, but really bad at the same time. I mean, it's actually all the way good with no downside, just well rounded. But you can at some point you can decapitate an enemy with it. So I'm gonna put it in the nice category. Next up is the hatchet. Some people, by hearing hatchet, they'll try and throw it at enemies' heads, but don't do that. You can just try aiming for the enemy's mouth, because that's basically their weak spot. Try aiming for their mouth with this one, and feed them an axe, and then they're dead. Please do not mind that ridiculous sound I just made. So I'm just gonna put it in the nice category. Next up is the war axe. In the 1.0 update, I don't know what it's called, but I call it as the war axe. It has a spike on the back of it that can pierce eye armor. Oh, you don't want to know what the eye is, but they have really strong armor. And with this thing, their armor is like Play-Doh compared to this thing. So I'm gonna put it in the perfect category. Now axes are over. We're moving on to the spears. So next we have the boar spear. The boar spear is actually my favorite spear. It's actually like really good. So I'm gonna try and put it in the perfect category. Next we got the javelin. The javelin, it's good. You can throw it. You can throw it at an enemy's head and they'll go flying across the arena. Trust me, it happened before, and I'll never forget the time. So I'm gonna put it in this category. It's bad and good at the same time. So next up is I forgot. Hold on. Pretend this weapon is the sentry spear. It has a blade. It's just really good looking. Just trust me, guys. I'm also putting it for good looking. I mean, yeah, but so we're gonna try it. So the sentry spear right here. Nice spot right there. Next up, we got the maul. My God, why did I say it like that? The maul. You can crush an enemy, and I mean crush an enemy with it. It's not bad or anything, unlike the great mace, but I'm gonna put it right here. Next up, the wooden mallet. Trust me, I have never used this weapon in the game before, and I'm not going to right now because my headset is charging. I have actually never used this weapon before, even though I've been playing Blade Sorcery for about 3 years. I just never used it. Trust me, I've never used it ever. So I'm just gonna put this like right here, like a gap, because I've never used it before. Next up, my favorite, the Great Mace. The Flanged Great Mace. Dope weapon. Like, you can hit an enemy so hard, they'll fly across the map. And it has a spike at the end that could, like, kill an enemy's armor. And it's, like, really good. Trust me. So we're going to put it all the way up because it's one of my favorite weapons before the 1.0 weapon update. And before I was able to get armor. Next up, blacksmith hammer. Blacksmith hammer. Also known as bad. Like, you could hit an enemy so hard in the head and still break your fan and break your wrist at the same time, and the enemy would still it would just make the enemy more alive instead of dead. It's bad, just bad. It's bad. Next up, the trench mace. It's actually one of the most well-rounded maces, and it's perfect. Just gonna put it in a nice category. It's both bad and good at the same time. The flanged mace. Shut up. Bear with me. I still don't know why my grandmother made her message ringtone Snoop Dogg. I don't know why she did. She just won't answer me. So if it sounds stupid. Okay, the flanged mace. One of the most well-rounded maces in the world. It's still better than the trench mace, so we're gonna put it there. We're running out of room in the nice category, and that's a bad thing. Next up, the rock. It doesn't do a hard eyebrow raise. Originally, the rock was supposed to be worse than the blacksmith hammer, but instead, it's literally better than the trench mace and hatchet. It's like if you combine the trench mace and hatchet together, you get the rock, and it's actually one of the best weapons in the game. Call me an idiot as much as you want. So it's going right here. I don't give two craps what you say. The dual-bladed mace. If you want to be Darth Maul, use this weapon. It's actually, some people might think you could, like, kill a bunch of enemies at once with this. No, you can't. You absolutely can't. It's extremely difficult to use, so I'm just gonna put it right here. Right here. Next to the blacksmith hammer. It's still better than the blacksmith hammer, but it's bad. I just don't like it. Next up is the rapier. It's actually a really nice weapon. I love this weapon. Both realistically and in game. Like, sometimes a rapier would be skinny enough to fit through chainmail, but sadly not in the game. So, the rapier holds a special place in my heart. It's going in the GOAT. Next up is the wrist blade. And a lot of people are gonna hate me for this, but oh crap. A lot of people are gonna hate me for this, but people who like the wrist blade is like Taylor Swift fans. They think it's the best weapon, best person in the world, as well as the best weapon in the game. It's overrated. It's overrated as dog crap. People overappreciate this thing a little too much, and I mean it's alright. Like it just makes me a little mad that people like it too much. People like it a little too much, so I'm just gonna put it in the bad, because people are just using it way too much. Next up, yeah, I'm probably gonna lose like 4 subscribers for the last one. Next up is the bow. Sorcery is still better than it. And if you use the bow as a weapon instead of the arrow, it's like the blacksmith hammer. But the arrow is basically there. So I'm just gonna put it right there. Oh crap. Next up, we got the staff. The staff. It's actually, some people may think otherwise, but after the 1.0 update, the staff is basically the absolute bestest in the game. I am not kidding. But still, most people don't like it, but I am going to put this right here in the goat category. It's right there, underneath the rapier. Next up is basically every shield. Listen to me. If you're an NPC, listen to me. If you are a blade and sorcery NPC, it is. If you were to use any weapon made out of wood as a blade and sorcery NPC, you're cooked. Nah, you ain't cooked. You deep fried. If your game's code is forcing you to use a kite shield or a washman shield. If you use any of those weapons, you're screwed as an NPC. But it's supposed to be solely based off of players. If you're using the kite shield, I'm still so mad at Blade and Sorcery for getting rid of the kite shield in 1.0. But if you're going to use the kite shield as a NPC, you're cooked. But if you're going to use the kite shield as a player, you are so good at the game. If you're a player, you can use basically any shield you want without any problems. So, the kite shield, you will be missed. You will always hold a special place in my heart. But you're still not considered as a weapon. So you're going to be right here where the rock is. Because you're still good. Love you. Next up is the sorcery. Basically, the sorcery is the key to making any weapon magical. Except for the blacksmith hammer. You suck. D word. God. What the frick? Let's just leave it there. If you're going to use sorcery, dear sorcery, you are the key to making any weapon, except for blacksmith hammer, the greatest weapon of all time. So I'm going to put it right above the claymore, because I don't have room. Right there in the goat category. So that's basically it. If it's the only, oh my god. If a weapon is in the game's name, sorcery, it's good. You can literally cause chaos with the help a few crystals. With sorcery, basically, if you mix fire and electricity and shoot it at an enemy, you're just doing that enemy dirty, because that